You think going quiet makes you look weak, like you're losing, like you're the one who got left behind. But silence, real silence, chosen silence, intentional silence, is the loudest thing a man can do. Let that land for a second. Because most men never figure this out. They chase, they text, they explain themselves into exhaustion. They send one more message, one more apology, one more attempt to keep a woman engaged, to keep her warm, to keep her interested. And every single time they do that, they lose. Not because the woman is cruel, not because love doesn't matter, but because they fundamentally misunderstand how attraction works at a psychological level. And today, I'm going to fix that misunderstanding. Not to give you a manipulation tactic, not to hand you a trick, but to hand you the truth about your own value and why you've been undermining it every single day. If this is the kind of clarity you need in your life, and I mean real clarity, not feel-good content, not validation, then hit subscribe right now. Because this channel is not about telling you what you want to hear. It's about telling you what you need to hear so you stop making the same costly mistakes over and over again. Subscribe and turn on notifications because these are the reminders most men never got growing up. All right, let's go. Here is what it really means when a woman can't stop thinking about you after you go silent. It doesn't mean you're playing games. It doesn't mean you're being manipulative. What it means is that you have, perhaps for the first time, stopped performing. You have stepped out of the anxious orbit she was used to watching. And your absence, your refusal to chase, has forced her mind to confront something it was never made to confront easily. The unknown. That's the thesis. The unknown is magnetic. And most men, through their desperate availability, remove every ounce of mystery they ever had. They answer instantly. They accommodate constantly. They bend, shift, adjust, and contort themselves into whatever shape they think will keep the woman close. And in doing so, they become predictable. And predictability, in the context of attraction, is the slow death of desire. Let's break this down properly because I don't want you nodding along without actually understanding the root of this. The misconception first. Most men believe that more access equals more attraction. That being available, responsive, emotionally generous, and present will make a woman feel secure and therefore more drawn to you. And look, in a stable long-term relationship with a mature, emotionally healthy woman, presence and reliability are absolutely valuable. I'm not disputing that. But you know the situation we're talking about here. You're not in that scenario. You're in the early stages, or you've just been through a breakup, or you've been giving everything and getting less and less in return. And in that context, constant availability is not generosity. It is desperation wearing a generous costume. That's called performing, and she can feel it. Here's the hard truth. Women are extraordinarily sensitive to shifts in a man's energy, far more sensitive than most men realize. It is not a superpower. It is an evolutionary adaptation. Throughout human history, women needed to be able to read men accurately because the stakes of choosing wrong were incredibly high. So her nervous system has been tuned over thousands of years to detect confidence, to detect neediness, to detect whether a man is acting from a place of real security or whether he is simply performing security while quietly panicking underneath. She might not be able to articulate it. She might not even be consciously aware of it, but her gut knows. And when her gut detects the vibration of a man who needs her validation to feel okay, the attraction quietly, steadily drains. You stop being a man she looks up to. You stop being someone who challenges her. You stop being the person she has to earn. You start becoming the person she manages. And no woman wants to be with a man she has to manage. So why does silence change this? Why does going quiet, genuinely, purposefully, not as a tactic, but as a natural byproduct of redirecting your energy inward? Why does that flip the dynamic? Because it removes the supply. Here is the psychology. When you are constantly available, constantly texting, constantly checking in, constantly responding, you are feeding a woman's sense of certainty about you. And certainty, while comfortable, does not generate longing. Think about anything in your life you were completely certain about. The chair you sit in, the tap that runs water, the phone that charges. You never think about those things because you're certain they'll be there. You never wonder, you never long, you never feel that pull of wanting. Because certainty eliminates the need to reach for something. But the moment the chair isn't there, you notice. The moment the tap runs dry, you think about water constantly. The moment you stop being a guaranteed presence in a woman's emotional landscape, her mind starts moving towards you, involuntarily. That's not manipulation. That is how the human mind processes loss of access to something it valued. And here's where it gets deeper. When you go silent, you force her to live in her imagination. And her imagination, if you gave her good experiences, will do your work for you. She starts filling the silence with you, with the memory of how you made her feel, with the version of you that made her laugh, made her feel safe, made her feel something real. Your silence becomes a canvas, and she starts painting on it. You are not there to dilute the image with anxiety or need or over-explanation. You are simply absent, and the absence makes the image sharper, cleaner, more attractive. That's called the contrast effect. The space you leave creates contrast between who you were when you were around, especially if you were genuinely good, and the flatness of a world without your energy in it. Now, let's talk about what it costs you to never learn this. Because this is not just about women. This is about how you show up in the entire landscape of your life. When you are addicted to external validation, when you need someone to respond to feel okay, when your mood rises and falls with whether or not she texted back, you have handed the steering wheel of your life to someone else. You have made your peace contingent on her behavior. You have made your confidence a loan, not an asset. And that is a level of psychological poverty that bleeds into everything, into your work, into your friendships, into your sense of identity. You become a man whose baseline mood is determined by the unpredictability of another person's feelings. And there is nothing more exhausting and nothing less attractive than a man who cannot regulate himself. That's called emotional dependency. And it is not love. It is fear wearing the mask of love. Real love starts from fullness, not from emptiness. You cannot offer something you do not have. And if you are constantly seeking validation, you are running on empty. You are trying to pour from a dry well. And the woman you want, the good one, the one worth keeping, she can sense that. She wants a man she can lean into, not a man who is quietly leaning on her. So let me describe the man. Let me paint you a picture of the man who never has to manufacture silence, because silence is simply a natural feature of his life. This man wakes up, and his first thought is not about her. His first thought is about what he has to build that day. He has a project. He has a mission. He has something burning in him that requires his attention more urgently than any romantic situation. He is not cold. He is not cruel. He is not indifferent. He is consumed. Consumed by purpose, by growth, by the version of himself he is relentlessly sculpting. And women feel that. They feel the gravity of a man who is going somewhere, because a man in motion creates a pull, the same way a current in water pulls everything around it. This man does not check his phone every 15 minutes, not because he is playing games, but because he genuinely has better things to do. He answers when he is ready, not when his anxiety tells him to. He sets his own pace, and he does not apologize for it. When a woman pulls back, he does not scramble. He notices, he adjusts his energy accordingly, and he returns to his lane. Because his lane is more important than the chaos of chasing someone who is not sure about him. He is sure about himself. And that certainty, that unshakable self-knowledge, radiates outward and makes everyone around him want to be close to it. He has standards, not rules he memorized from the internet, actual standards rooted in what he values and what he will not accept. He does not confuse longing for a person with a need to tolerate disrespect from that person. He knows the difference between love and losing himself. And whenever those two things start to blur, he chooses himself. Every single time, because he understands that choosing himself is not selfishness. It is the foundation upon which anything real can be built. This man is not perfect. He feels things deeply. He wants connection as much as any man does, but he refuses to mortgage his dignity for closeness. He would rather be alone and intact than together and diminished. And that refusal that quiet, immovable refusal, is one of the most attractive qualities a man can carry. You can become that man, not in a day, not through a single realization, but through a relentless series of small decisions to put yourself first, to redirect, to rebuild. So here's what you do, starting right now. You stop texting first every time, not to play games, but because you are going to practice letting your desire wait while your work comes first. Every time you feel the urge to reach out from a place of anxiety or longing, you redirect that energy. You go to the gym, you open the laptop, you call a friend, you do the thing you have been putting off. You make the impulse into fuel, not a decision. You stop explaining yourself unnecessarily. You do not owe anyone a dissertation on why you are unavailable. "I'm busy" is a complete sentence. "I'll get back to you later" is a complete sentence. The less you over-explain, the more solid your boundaries appear to others and to yourself. You stop measuring your day by her response. You build a morning routine, a goal structure, a set of daily wins that have absolutely nothing to do with her mood or her timeline. Your emotional baseline should be built on what you accomplish, not on what she sends. That is how you reclaim your stability. You stop abandoning your purpose every time there is romantic turbulence. Turbulence is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to stay grounded. Your mission does not pause because a relationship is uncertain. If anything, uncertainty is the exact moment to double down on your own growth. That is the ultimate silent statement. You are doing so well, you barely notice the chaos. You start showing up for yourself with the same energy you were pouring into chasing her. Same intensity, same consistency, same emotional investment, but directed inward, toward your body, your skills, your finances, your friendships, your creative work, your healing. You become the project. And men who are deeply invested in their own project are irresistible because they are rare. Most men are invested in everyone else. The man who is invested in himself first, she has never met a man like that, and she will not stop thinking about him. That is the reframe. Silence is not absence. Silence is presence. Presence with yourself. When you stop chasing her, you start finding you. And the version of you that you find in that stillness, in that discipline, in that redirected focus is the version she actually wants. But here is the honest truth you have to accept. By the time you fully become that man, you might not need her the same way anymore. Your desire might still be there, but the desperation will be gone. And without the desperation, you will be free to want her from a place of genuine strength rather than fear. And that changes everything. That is who you are underneath the anxiety, underneath the pattern of chasing, explaining, and overgiving, underneath the conditioning that told you love means losing yourself. You are a man with depth, with drive, with a gravitational pull of your own. You are not someone who needs to perform to be worthy. You are the answer to your own question. You were never the problem. The pattern was the problem. And patterns can be broken. You are not too far gone. You are not too old. You are not too damaged. You are simply a man who has not yet decided to stop bleeding energy outward and start building something inward. That decision is available to you right now, in this moment, not tomorrow, now. If this hit you somewhere real, if something in this video cracked open a door you have been walking past for years, then subscribe to this channel right now, because this is the work. Every single video here is designed to hand you back to yourself. Your clarity, your standards, your sense of what you are actually worth. You do not have to navigate this alone. There is a community of men here who are asking the same hard questions, doing the same inner work, making the same shift from reaction to intention. You belong here, and we are just getting started.